Napakagandang umaga, Sabado ng umaga, uminit na rin, lumitaw na rin ang araw. Magandang umaga sa aking mga viewers dito sa Kababayan, Kasali Kayo, episode number 11. To my viewers, thank you for being with me again early this morning. And to my Chamorro brothers and sisters, buenos dias. This morning, it's so cold here in the studio, so I've got my winter coats on. Anyways, but this morning we're going to talk about, or let's put it this way, rather than, um, you know, announcing news from the Philippines or in Guam, what I've decided to do is I'm going to do an editorial this morning. Gagawa ako ng editorial ngayong umaga. Ibig sabihin ng editorial po, yan po ay sarili kong opinion at sa mga pananaw ko sa mga nangyayari dito sa Guam. Malapit na po ang election at nakakasawa na araw-araw na lang may nakikita tayong mga balita kung anong nangyayari sa ating gobyerno, kung bakit patuloy na naghihirap ang mga tao, lalo na ngayon at tumataas ang mga bilihin, yung mga fees ng mga serbisyo sa kung saan-saan, bangko, yan. Inflation, nandito na ngayon ang inflation sa Guam. It is real. Kaya itong umagang ito, episode 11 ng Kababayan, Kasali Kayo, gagawa ako ng editorial at yan ay sarili kong opinion. At kung tumutugma sa inyong mga opinion, salamat naman. Kaya ngayong umaga, tumutok lang po kayo at babalik tayo pagkatapos ng commercial break.
People from all over the world call Guam home, and this diversity defines who we are as a community. That's why in Washington, D.C., we need a strong, passionate voice to speak for all of us and not just a few. We need James Moylan to represent all Guamanians, to make sure the changes happening in our island are for the better. This November, vote James Moylan for U.S. Congress. Guam's future hasn't been written yet. We need Jim to lead us all there together.
Welcome to Kababayan, Kasali Kayo. After that commercial break from Senator James Moylan running for Congress this coming general election. Magandang umaga ulit po. Buenos dias to my brothers and sisters. Chamorro. Kaya tumutok po ho kayo dito. Marami tayong pag-uusapan. Pero bago tayo mag-umpisa, gusto ko lang naman batiin yung aking number 1 na advertiser, si Ate Zenny Ponce, Balquiadra Ponce. Napakabait ho niyan. Napaka-supportive dito sa Kababayan, Kasali Kayo. At saka syempre, yung mga ibang advertisers natin, Northern Construction, at iba pa. Magsha-shout out din ho ako sa mga ating mga H2B skilled workers yan, yung ating mga H2 workers. Kung saan man ho kayo, mag-ingat lang. Kahit uminit na ngayong umaga, madulas pa rin po ang mga daan. Kaya hinay-hinay lang ho ang pagdra-drive o kaya mag-ingat lang kayo na take a defensive approach pag kayo'y nagmamaneho o kayo'y always wear your seat belts kasi napakadulas Itong Guam ata merong pinakamadulas na daan dito at napakaraming aksidente kahit na hindi nagbubuhol-buhol ang traffic. Napakaraming aksidente araw-araw. Kasi yung kalsada natin, kung hindi nyo alam, coral yan. Kaya pag pinatungan yan ng simento o ano man yung itim na nilalagay nila, kahit ano, pag umulan, talagang madulas yan. Kaya mag-iingat po tayo parate. At kung kayo po ay nag-aalmusal at nanonood ng show ko, enjoy at tumutok lang po tayo. Marami tayong pag-uusapan. Umpisahan na po natin. Unang-una, bago dumating ang pandemya dito sa yung COVID-19 pandemic, nung inanunsyo yan ng World Health Organization na meron ngang dadapo na sakit ang sabi nila galing yan sa China. Okay. So, World Health Organization, inanunsyo yan. Nagbigay na sila ng warning na kung hindi maagapan itong coronavirus na ito, talagang marami ang mamamatay, maraming mawawalan ng trabaho, at ang ating kabuhayan ay maaapektuhan. So, hindi nagkulang ang World Health Organization at saka dahil nandito tayo sa Guam, nasakop ng Estados Unidos, hindi nagkulang ang United States para balaan tayo na paghandaan ito. Nagkaroon tayo ng mga sari-saring mga regulasyon, wear mask, wash your hands, use sanitizers. Yun, bago pa naging pandemya itong coronavirus na ito at nagkaroon ng lockdown, tayo ay na-warningan na ng World Health Organization at saka yung mga leaders natin sa Kongreso at saka sa White House. Okay. So, madalit sabi, ang nangyari, nakaupo na itong si President Biden, no, nung nangyari ito. So, sa preparasyon nitong maaring dumapo na pandemya na hindi lang sa Estados Unidos, hindi lang dito, apektado ang buong mundo. Anong ginawa ng US Congress at saka itong si President Biden? O kaya kung hindi man si President Biden, kung hindi man siya ang nakaupo, gagawa ng hakbang ang isang leader para matulungan ang mga tao sa Estados Unidos at saka sa kanilang mga maraming teritoryo. Kagaya ng Guam, teritoryo ng United States. Itong Guam, kung saan tayo ngayon. Ngayon, reviewin natin kung ano itong ARPA funds. Okay? Sa English, ibig sabihin ng ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. In short, ang abbreviation niyan is ARPA. Itong ARPAng ito, itong funding na ito na pinag-isipan ng US Congress, ito na siguro ang pinakamalaking pondo na itinulong sa buong history ng United States. Ito na ang pinakamalaking pondo na pinakawalan ng Estados Unidos para tumulong sa kanilang sa ating mga citizens, sa ating mga sakop nila, territory of Guam. Tumataginting na $1.9 billion. Itong package na ito. Ano ang sakop nito? anong purpose nitong stimulus na ito. Itong stimulus package na 1.9 trillion. Okay? Unang-una, ito ay gagamitin para sa recovery sa devastation. Ibig sabihin yung maya posibleng mangyari sa ating ekonomiya, sa ating health, at saka sa epekto ng yung mismo yung COVID na yan, yung coronavirus na yan sa ating araw-araw na kabuhayan. At syempre, winarningan tayo na magkakaroon ng maraming mamamatay pag hindi naagapan. At kahit na nung naagapan, isipin nyo, napakaraming namatay. Okay. Anong kasama nitong recovery package na ito? Okay, kung natatandaan nyo, dalawang beses tayong nakatanggap ng stimulus na 1,400. Dalawang beses yan. Okay. Yung mga, nung dumating na yan at nagkaroon na ng may mga nagkakasakit na, nagkaroon na ng maraming concern na kung halimbawa sa negosyo, kung hindi nila kokontrolin yung mga pumapasok halimbawa sa restaurant, okay? Kung hindi nila kokontrolin, yung bang the effect, kung halimbawa kung ang isang empleyado ay nagkaroon ng coronavirus, tinamaan ng coronavirus, kung hindi nila kokontrolin yan, maipapasa, magko-contaminate yan. Automatically, may contaminations. So, anong ginawa ng mga business owners? Siyempre, kailangan kontrolin nila yan. Dahil, kung hindi, marami talaga maapektuhan. Ngayon, to save lives, ang ginawa nila, nag-cut sila ng employee. Eventually, nung naging pandemic, siyempre, nagkaroon ng lockdown, nagsara na ang mga business establishment. Kung saan-saan, hindi lang dito sa Guam, halos lahat sa United States. Mga tao naghirap, mga negosyante naghirap. So, yun. Part of that package is to help itong mga negosyante na mag-recover. Okay? At yung mga nahihirapan dahil sa nawalan sila ng trabaho, syempre mawawalan din sila ng sweldo. At saan sila kukuha ng ibabayad nila sa kanilang mga obligasyon? Ang nangyari dito sa Guam, excuse me, ang nangyari po dito sa Guam, dahil walang employment insurance ang mga trabahador dito sa Guam, pinaglaban ni Congressman Michael San Nicolas yan, na kahit na walang insurance, na unemployment insurance ang mga trabahador dito sa Guam, pinaglaban niya at pumasa na mabigyan yung mga natanggal sa trabaho ng assistance galing dito sa ARPA funds, galing dito sa stimulus package na 1.9 trillion. Kasama ang Guam dyan. Kaya nagkaroon kayo ng puwa. Okay? Napakalaking bagay po yun. Para matuloy lang na meron kayong ibibili ng pagkain, makapagbayad kayo ng bills, makapagbayad kayo sa mortgage. Okay. On top of that, yung package deal na ito, itong stimulus package na ito, meron din diyang provision na hindi makakakuha kayo ng tulong para hindi kayo ma-evict sa inyong mga apartment o sa inyong bahay at meron ding katuwang na 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 halaga. Halimbawa, kung behind kayo sa inyong mga mortgage, ang ginawa ng Kongreso, US Congress, at saka dito sa act na ito, itong stimulus package na ito na pinirmahan ni President Biden, hindi si Marcos, si Biden, nagkaroon din ng provision diyan na nakipag-deal, pwede kang pumunta sa bangko at sabihin mo, nahihirapan ako dahil wala akong trabaho, hindi ko kayang magbayad ng mortgage ko. So, ang ginawa nila, talagang ipinackage na yun at sinabihan ang mga banking institution na wag nyo i-foreclose ang kanilang mga bahay. Wag nyo silang tanggalin sa kanilang bahay. Dahil dito sa pandemya, walang kasalanan ng mga tao diyan. So ang ginawa nila, pinushback nila 'yon, pinushback. Nagkaroon ng tinatawag na moratorium. So napakahalagang tulong itong ARPA funds, okay? Isa pa, diyan sa package na 'yan, yung mga tumatanggap ng food stamp, may mga SNAP cards yung mga yung SNAP programs na public health. Ano 'yan? Triniple ang mga benefits. Dahil nga alam niyo naman, based on income 'yan, kung halimbawa binigyan ng isang pamilya ng 1,000, dinagdagan pa 'yun. Para lang hindi kayo Kayo, dahil hindi ako gumagamit talaga ng food stamp. Never ako gumamit ng food stamp. Kaya yung sinasabi ko na kayo, kung binigyan kayo ng mga ganyan na kantidad, 600, 700, 800, kahit na 1,000, nadagdagan yan under this ARPA stimulus package. Okay? Child care. Automatic yan. Dapat nabigyan ang mga working mothers or working family na walang mag-aalaga sa kanilang mga anak, pwede silang pumunta sa isang child care center at dapat may kaakibat na bayad yan galing dito sa package na ito. Okay? Tapos isa pang napaka-importante, itong recovery period na kung saan ito nga 1.9 trillion ang naging budget. Kasama diyan yung halimbawa itong government of Guam, syempre dahil nagsara ang mga negosyo dahil sa lockdown, ang revenue na nakokolekta nila bumagsak. So, itong package na ito, nagbigay din sila ng tulong dito sa Guam at alam ko sa CNMI para makarecover at hindi lang, kasi nawala ng income ang government of Guam. So, itong package na ito, itong 1.9 trillion na ibinigay sa mga kasapi ng United States, kasama dyan yung tulong para ang ating gobyerno ay mag-operate pa rin na parang walang masyadong epekto. So, may sarili silang budget, tapos kung ano yung makolekta nila, kung anong makolekta ng government of Guam, sa kanila na yon. Gagamitin nila yan. Tapos isa pang napaka-importante na ginawa, and I have to give credit to Congressman San Nicolas sa pag-aasikaso na tumaas yung earned income tax na kung saan ginagamit ito ng gobyerno, ng government of Guam, pinupunduhan yan ng US Treasury. Guaranteed yan. Ngayon, ito, kaya napapabilis ang refunds dahil dinagdagan at inimplement ng United States Congress kung kayo may refund, ang bilis. Di po ba? Okay, so we'll take a short break. At pagkatapos ng short break po, meron pa rin tayong pag-uusapan para maiklaro ko kung bakit ginagawa ko itong editorial na ito. At saka ipapalabas ko din po yung interview sa dalawang napaka-importante tao na dapat nating huwag makalimutan itong darating na election. So let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
People from all over the world call Guam home, and this diversity defines who we are as a community. That's why in Washington, D.C., we need a strong, passionate voice to speak for all of us and not just a few. We need James Moylan to represent all Guamanians, to make sure the changes happening in our island are for the better. This November, vote James Moylan for U.S. Congress. Guam's future hasn't been written yet, and that's why we need Jim to lead us all there together.
Welcome back to Kababayan, kasali kayo. Maraming salamat po at kayo nanonood at nakikinig. So ito, babalikan ko itong pinag-uusapan natin dito sa stimulus package, yung COVID-19, ARPA funds na malaking pera ang natanggap ng Guam. So kung naiintindihan nyo dun sa aking explanation o sa pagbabasa nyo ng mga news dyan, nakikinig kayo sa mga bali-balita tungkol dito. Noong dumating yung pondo na yan dito sa Guam, anong ginawa ng ating gobernador? Okay? Ngayon mga kababayan, nakakasawa na eh. Ito na ang aking editorial, nakakasawa na itong perang ito na naibigay dito sa Guam, galing dito sa American Rescue Plan Act, para sa tulong sa gobyerno at sa mga tao. Nakakasawa na kung bakit, isipin yung mabuti. Bakit yung mga programa nitong itong nakaupong gobernador, bakit ngayon lang niya inumpisahang magbigay ng, unahin natin, ito, nangyari ito bago nagkaroon ng primary election itong election na ito, nakalimutan ko na kung anong date yung ating primary. I think it was, when was the primary, Zach? Was it September? Anyway, bakit doon lang niya inumpisahan ang gumawa ng mga programa na pagbigay ng kagaya niyan, yung tulong para sa mga rents ng mga nangungupahan ng mga residents dito sa Guam. 'Di ba? Isa 'yan. Tapos ano pa? Bakit ngayon lang siya nagbibigay nag-aanunsyo at nakikita nyo naman siguro sa kanyang advertising, bakit ngayon lang siya nagbibigay ng tulong para sa mga child care? Yung mga bata na pumapasok iniiwanan ng kanilang mga ina sa child care para sila yung makapasok. Bakit ngayon lang? Bakit pinahirapan niya tayo habang Congressman San Nicolas, ang legislature, sinasabi na ilabas mo na yan, ibigay mo na yan, tulungan mo ang mga tao dahil naaapektuhan ang kapabilidad nila para magbayad ng power bills dahil wala naman tayong talagang control kung tataas ang gasolina. Pinahirapan niya tayo. At sa bandang huli, ha, sa pagpupursige ng itong Guam legislature dahil siguro marami ng tao na nagrereklamo, sa awa ng Diyos magkano lang ibinigay niya? $100 off your bills every month for only 5 months. Natuwa na siya doon at inako pa niya na siya daw ang kusang nagbigay noon. Hindi. Etong gobernador natin, hindi kusang nagbibigay yan. Pahirapan. Yan ang totoo. Ako talaga nayayamot na eh. Oh, ano pa? Ano pa? May mga kababayan tayong nakakausap ko at alam nila na may programa ako. Sasabihin nila, alam mo ma'am, pupunta kami nakalinya. Ha? Pagdating namin doon, pipila kami ng mga mahigit ng 1 oras. Lumalabas kami, ginagamit namin ang lunch time namin para pumila. Pagkatapos pagdating doon, wala. Wala. Nadideny sila. Ano ba ito ang... Tapos ito pa, ha? Kailan lang lumabas? Siguro last month lang. Nag-create siya, gumawa siya ng relief center. Relief center. Parang huli na. Okay? Parang which do you put first? You know, the cart or the horse? Parang ganun. Ano ito? Ano itong mga palabas nitong gobernador na ito? Ha? Ito ba ay para sumikat siya, para magkaroon siya ng maraming boto, para iboto siya ng 4 na taon na naman? Sa totoo lang, itong ARPA funds, bago naging pandemic dito sa Guam at bago nagkaroon tayo ng lockdown, dapat ibinigay na niya yan eh. Yung perang yan. Yung mga tulong sa mga tao. In anticipation na lang na tayo ay maghihirap. Tapos ito pa, okay? Lahat naman tayo hindi natin alam na magkakaroon ng gyera between Russia and Ukraine na kung saan nakokontrol yung presyo ng gasolina tuwing maggagasolina tayo. Oh, ano? Natatandaan ko nung bumalik ako dito, wala pang $4 per gallon. Tapos every week tumataas na yan hanggang, yun na nga, parang naging pandemya na rin yung gasolina na yan, yung cost ng gasolina na yan. Dapat, sa opinion ko, dapat nung dumating ang pera dito, dito sa, itong trinabaho ni Congressman Michael San Nicolas para tayo ay maibsan yung mga ating mga worries, yung ating mga fears dahil sa hindi lang sa coronavirus pero yung inflation. Dapat etong gobernador na ito, dapat ginawa na niya yan nung dumating ang pera at hindi siya naghintay na ngayon lang niya ibibigay. Nakakainis. Ako naiinis. At wala akong pakialam, mga kababayan, kung itong pananalita ko ngayon, itong editorial ko ngayon, babalikan ako niyang gobernador na yan at itong administration niya. Wala akong pakialam dahil never ako nanghingi ng tulong sa kanya at never ako, I don't, mahirap na lang sabihin eh. Hindi ako yung klaseng tao na sumisip-sip, sabihin natin. Never. Lumaki ako dito sa Guam, tumanda ako dito sa Guam. Never ako sumipsip kahit kanino. Kaya itong opinion ko ito, alam nyo, alam ng karamihan, hindi lang tayong mga Pilipino, na ang paghihirap natin ay dahil dito sa administrasyon nitong nakaupong gobernador. Okay, nakakasawa na. Ngayon, naririnig nyo, nababasa nyo sa newspaper na napakaraming anomalya na nangyayari dahil wala siyang transparency. Ibig sabihin ng transparency, hindi siya upfront, yung mga hindi malinaw kung anong mga binibigay niya, mga rason niya kung saan ang etong ARPA funds. Nababasa nyo na may natitira pa na halos $300 million. At anong sabi ng legislature? Anong sabi ng kanyang kalaban? Anong sabi ni Congressman Michael San Nicolas? Ilabas mo na yan para tulungan mo ang mga tao. Ang inyong, yung essential pay. Nasaan ang essential pay? Kasama yan dito sa stimulus package. Hanggang ngayon, mga kababayan, hindi pa rin niya inilalabas at ayaw niyang pondohan. Alam nyo, ang mga tao dito, at saka itong mga tumatakbo dyan, yung mga nakaupong senador dyan, at karamihan ng mga tao dito, itong mga Guamanians, mga Chamorros, alam nila kung gaano kasipag ang Pilipino. Alam nila na nagtatrabaho yan, 2 trabaho, 3 trabaho. Nung pandemya, sino ang sumugod? Sino ang isinabak nila sa mga essential na mga services? Di ba tayong mga Filipino? Kayong mga Pilipino, kayong mga kababayan ko. Entitled kayo dyan sa essential pay. Bakit hindi niya inilalabas pa? Bakit ayaw niyang inalabas? Alam niyo, sa totoo lang, kilala ko itong gobernador na ito. Wala siyang amor sa ating mga Pilipino. Sa totoo lang. Wala siyang amor kahit na ilang beses niya sabihin na mabuhay, mahal ko kayo. Kayo maniwala doon. Eto, wala siyang amor. Ano tayo? Kumbaga, sa linya, nandun tayo sa pinakahuli. Meron ba siyang cabinet member na Pilipino? Wala. Di po ba? Isipin niyong mabuti. Alam ko na marami kayong haka-haka, marami kayong pangamba, marami kayong katanungan, marami kayong issue, hindi lang sa kabuhayan, pero sa nangyayari dito sa Guam. Pero, kung minsan kasalanan natin kung ano nangyayari sa atin, masakit man ang loob ko dahil ako, kahit nalaki ako dito, malaki pa rin ang malasakit ko sa ating mga kababayan. Dahil karamihan sa kanila pumunta dito sa Guam para umigi ang buhay. Pero mga kababayan, kung tayo ay mananahimik na lang, walang mangyayari sa atin. Eto, nagkaroon ako ng interview kay former Governor Felix Camacho at sa kanyang running mate na si Senator Tony Ada. At sabi ko dito sa team na ito na tatakbo nitong general election na kalaban nitong gobernador na ito. Diretso ang mga tanong ko sa kanya. Sabi ko, dito sa interview ito, sabi ko, address the Filipino community and the community as a whole. Sa mga nalalaman ninyo kung bakit itong gobernador na ito ay pinahihirapan kami. Iba. Hindi lang tayo mga Pilipino. Lahat. At mga kapatid nating mga Guamanians, nahihirapan din. Ang dami-daming umaalis dito sa Guam. Hindi lang nila nakikita yan. Ang dami-dami. Pero may mga statistics na yan. So, Zach, can we prepare that interview video? Thank you. Tutukan niyo po ito.
Magandang umaga, kababayan. Salamat sa pagtutukuli sa Kababayan Kasali Kayo itong Sabado ng umaga. At ngayong umaga, meron tayong napaka-importanting kausap dito sa studio at tututukan natin yung mga maraming yung katanungan, mga concerns nyo tungkol sa kabuhayan natin. At walang iba kundi ang i-interviewin ko ngayong umaga ay si Governor Felix Camacho at saka si Senator Tony Ada na parehong tumatakbo bilang gobernador at saka vice-gobernador nitong darating na general election sa November 8. Welcome to the show, Governor Camacho and Senator Tony. And would you like to say something to the Filipino community?
We'll begin with yes. Well, first of all, I'll begin. Tony and I are like this. We're very fluid. It's really an honor to be here with you, Sally, and thank you also to the Kandit News Group for giving us this opportunity to address the Filipino community, a very important segment of our island and of our island community, with a long history that goes back even to the days of the Spaniards, when they were out here. But
and the days of your dad.
My days of my father too. Very interesting too, because my father's mother was Antonia Garcia, Antonia Cruz Garcia, and she was half Filipina.
Wow.
So we always tell my dad, "You're a quarter pounder," like McDonald's, And then interesting, when it comes to my wife, she is half Filipina, her father's Filipino. So we call our children quarter pounder, like
That's
McDonald's.
nice to know.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that there's so much integration, there's so much intermarriage that has occurred over the decades, and of course the contributions of the Filipino community into Guam, especially in the rebuilding of our island after the war, is quite interesting. And I always found it interesting that when you go to the Philippines and they have their saint, Kalungsod, right?
Yes.
He was martyred on Guam
Oh, okay.
with San Vitores.
That's right, that's right.
So he's a saint. San Vitores is still waiting, but it shows that even back in the days of the Spaniards, the Filipinos were here on Guam. And history will show that maybe the Spaniards were administrators or whatever, but many of the people that they used to come and be part of the Spanish presence on Guam and administration were of Filipino descent. So it goes back really centuries, if you will.
That's very true. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah. So thank you for this opportunity, to
Yes,
speak to the
yes.
community. Messages we're all one.
Well, Governor, my dad came here as a construction worker, right? Along with my eldest brother.
Yeah.
So he's part of the rebuilding of Guam.
Yeah.
And then when they were given the opportunity to become the permanent resident of Guam, my dad worked for Little Thomas Barbershop under Uncle Bijado.
Yes.
Right? And your dad.
And we lived right behind.
And you were behind your grandfather.
On the
was
beach.
within the compound. He was
Yeah.
at the beach, right? So my dad was your dad's only barber. I remember that as
Love
a
it.
child. Okay? So with that said, your father really loved the Filipinos.
Well-
and I know that, and I can say that.
I have to say then, if your dad was my dad's barber, he was my barber too, because my father had all the boys lined up.
I don't think so.
One after.
I don't think
I used to get a crew cut. That
Probably, Governor.
cut.
And of course, with your dad, I had the opportunity to work with him in the Mimar Park, in the, what do you call this, the funeral home business.
Yeah.
Because I did work for another company, but, we had services that were in,
Yeah.
But anyway, Senator Tony, listen to the Filipino because
First,
I have some harsh questions
Oh, sure.
to ask
Thank
today.
you. Thank you first, Sally, for inviting us to speak with you and to speak with the, the Filipino community and to, I guess, get a better insight of who Felix and I are, right?
Right.
They'll be able to get a better understanding and, actually see the interactions with us, just between Felix and myself and with you, right? So, and I think that's what's important. I think when you can get people to feel who we are and not just see, then I think they get a better understanding of where our hearts are truly at. And that's what we want to do, is just bring everybody together once again, because our island has been separated and broken for the past several years. We need to heal, we need to come back, we need to bring families back, and we need to bring our community back, because once we start building from our families, we can build our community and then we can build our island. And that's what it has to be. It's just like when the Filipino community started to come out to Guam to help after the war. They helped build the families, they built the community, and they built the island. And that's what we need to replicate once again and make it stronger and better than what
I
it
agree.
used to be.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know that the Filipino community on Guam is a working community. We have families who hold two jobs or three jobs, because they feel they need to support their extended families in the Philippines as
Right.
well. But they have concerns, they have issues for this past few years, okay? Especially when pandemic came into the picture, okay? They have a lot of concerns. And sadly, as I go around my Kababayan, there's been a lot of families moving off island.
Yeah.
So my first question is, has this administration of Lilian Guerrero and Tenorio done enough to help all of us and not just the Filipino community? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think my observation, having been governor, is that I believe that there was a great overreach on her executive authority as governor under a declared state of emergency. As you can see, here we are now, close to 3 years after the pandemic, and we are still under a declared state of emergency. The legislature, led by the Republicans, have tried to bring some sense into it and fairness, saying that if there truly is still an existing health care emergency, then work with the legislature and allow us to then declare if there's a specific area or need that is of an emergency nature, then we will work with you. But I believe it has turned from what initially was a public health emergency because of COVID-19 and going into something that the world had never dealt with. And there was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of uncertainty, and decisions made, but it has moved from a declared public health state of emergency into, really it's turned into a political state of emergency where politics has been the rule rather than the health of the people.
Yeah. And I think, when you look at it, did she do what she can? Perhaps. Could she have done more? Absolutely. And to a greater segment of the community rather than just to a certain few, right? I think that had she been more transparent with the legislature in the ARP fundings that came into Guam, the total amounts, and how, if she took our ideas from the legislature and actually worked with the legislature, perhaps the community could have had a greater buy-in of what was going on and how things were proceeding, and actually more payouts of the ARP funding to our people, and not just just staying and sitting in the bank. Well, we can be actually helping families recuperate from this pandemic.
Yeah, I believe her mindset was, again, as governor, under a state of emergency, your authority is absolute. And she did say to the community, you have no say. She did basically tell the legislature, you have no say. And perhaps her concern was the legislature getting involved in the distribution of where the ARP monies and other funding sources would go. A lot of credit has to go to Congressman Michael Nicholas. Sitting in the Finance Committee, was able to secure a good amount of money on a per capita basis for the people of Guam.
Yes.
But however, how that was doled out was really at the sole discretion of the governor.
Yes.
And perhaps, utilizing an autonomous agency like Guam Economic Development Authority that has a board and a bit more autonomy than line agencies as to the movement of funds and programs, and doing that, says there were a lot of procurement, I believe, roundabouts in monies to areas that she wanted it to go. And so fairness, equity, there have been a lot of people that have felt left out. And I think they always say that in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. In other words, if you are able to get advice from many people around you that represent various sectors of our community, and they can express that, then decisions can be made in consideration of all the concerns that were brought before you.
And solely.
Yeah, not solely. You see,
Right.
oftentimes when you're this governor, my experience is that you are going to receive a lot of information. There's many different agendas that are laid out by groups of people and entities, and whether they be commercial or individual, that are after a specific goal or thing or program or months or whatever they can get out of the governor. And throughout the day, you basically have to sift through and determine what is true, what is not, and then make decisions on what you feel is true, but also being able to have counselors that you can go to for sound advice. But I believe that she, in her own words, she said that she will be a dictator, a dictator, she said, a benevolent dictator, but a dictator at that. And that is the great concern I had in how she carried out her responsibility as governor. And so you now can see that there are many sectors of our community that were left out and did not benefit
Including
from the
the
fund.
Filipino, especially the Filipino community.
Explain that a bit, if you will. Let me be the moderator here and ask you for your opinion on that about especially the Filipino.
Okay, we're talking about violence of programs that could have been started before the coronavirus became pandemic, right?
Right.
And so we had the Our Funds
Right.
Act in 2021. Why is she, and I call these violence of assistance, the aid assistance. For example, rental assistance, the child care assistance. Why couldn't she have started this? Funds were there. Why now?
Right.
Why prior to primary and after the primary, going into the general election?
Why? Because it's political. It is a political season,
And our
the-
people feel that.
yeah, and decisions were made for political gain. And that's the sad part of it.
And so we have Filipinos, except for last week, right, Eric, when I went to Hawaii, I go around the Filipino community. I canvassed with Mike. I supported Mike. Even after the loss, I went back. I said, did you support my candidate? Okay. So I keep in touch with them. Mike lost. Well, I gotta say, because I work these Filipinos. I work with them. Okay. So in the past month, we've had a lot of Filipinos moving off island, Hawaii, Las Vegas, and California. And what is their common concern? They're not going to make it here.
Cost of living.
Cost of living, wages not going up. And then again, Governor, we're talking about where is the essential pay? Let's talk about that. Because it would help a lot of people, not just Filipinos, but where is the essential pay? That's in the ARP Act.
You know, Tony, I know we've
Yeah.
gone to different businesses and met employees, and Tony can address.
Senator, please.
It's something that the governor never ended. She had control of the ARPA funds. She has control of the executive orders on how to pay out the ARPA funds, right? She could have done it at any time, and she never did. She never recognized the essential pay for essential worker. And that is all under her control. So why she didn't do it, we don't know. She left us out, she left the legislature out on many things. That's why it's important that our government needs to be transparent. But our government also needs to be held accountable, accountable to the people for the actions or
Right.
inactions of what they do and don't do.
And here's another alarming thing, Senator and
Yes.
Governor, okay? Because I worked this election, this primary election,
Mm-hmm.
okay? A lot of Filipinos are supposedly the largest ethnic voting ethnic group, right? The common thing that we've heard, not just me, for what? For what? Why should they vote? Okay, so as you can see in the primary election, the voting percentage of Filipinos has dwindled because of this attitude. And I say, as being one individual Filipino who've lived here all my life, it's my right, and to tell them, don't have that kind of attitude.
Right.
Be a part of the community. Okay? So we have a problem. We have a problem here. And I want my people to know, to be a participant in this general election.
Yeah.
Because I am sad that they are leaving this island for their concerns, that they're not, it's like they feel they're kind of put aside by this administration. And I have to be frank about that.
Well, I mean, this administration has had any Filipino leaders in
That
it,
too,
Yeah.
So, did they have a seat at the table?
right.
They didn't, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what's important, is that the segment of the community, all segments of the community, to be involved with what goes on.
And that is so obvious.
Yeah.
They don't have,
They don't.
not even an engineer maybe to talk about, what be done at the hospital or whatever
Yeah.
projects they have at Simon Sanchez. Nada, tadsa,
But it's important that, it's important that the community feels that, their vote matters, because their vote can make a difference.
Exactly.
And they need to know that
Yes.
they are a part of this island, because they made Guam home now.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
they-
we'll go right into
Oh,
that,
yeah,
Senator,
definitely.
because my last question
Yeah,
on
but
this, go
10,000,
ahead.
I do want to say that we did
Sure.
attend a forum that was conducted by the Tourism Travel Association and the Guam Restaurant Association. A lot of data and information was spilled out, but one that my attention was, they said that up to 10,000 people have left the island over the last 3 years, up to 10,000. And you've got families that are separated. I have to share with you a story. I talked to an old friend of mine and I said, how's the family? He says, we're doing fine, but we're not so happy nowadays. I said, why is that, Ron? He says, look, my children have left with my grandchildren. And me and my wife are here now. But I can't blame them. They had to leave because they couldn't find work. They were concerned about their children's education and opportunities in the future. And they were concerned about the rate of inflation and the cost of living. So they packed up and moved. I've got my brother and my sister living in the West Coast, and at least they're able to go and stay with family until they can get a job, they can get their kids settled in school. But the end result is we are missing our family. Our family has been broken apart. And my wife and I can't just up and leave and go with them. So the separation has caused a lot of pain and angst in families. And I think that is very telling of many family situations, especially the Filipino community that is multi-generational, extended families that are now broken up and have had to leave
Yes,
for
sir.
better opportunities.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir. So my last question to you is, just last Tuesday, you were on the news demanding that Governor Lilian Guerrero release the 290 millions that's in her bank.
Yeah.
What prompted you to do that, Governor?
Well, I know that Kandit did a story on the 300 million or so at that time that was sitting in the bank, and a very detailed explanation of how that money is sitting in the bank, redeposited into Treasury treasury accounts, earning interest at that point of 3.15%, and perhaps moving up another to 3.75%, close to 4%. 300 million earning that kind of money is a lot of interest earned. And it would benefit, of course, the governor personally for it to sit there. Now, the 300 is, of course, has been the excuse is that we're saving this money to build a new hospital. But everybody knows that hospital is going to cost $1.4 billion or more. In fact, just a couple of days ago, the senator can talk about it, there was an oversight hearing on the land called Eagle Field up in back road to Anderson, Manila, that she wants to use. And the landowners are saying, I don't care if you will get money and pay us off. It's not for sale. I mean, you had the elderly relatives or family members saying, the only thing left that I can give to my children and grandchildren is a piece of property that my parents own so that they can build their house on it and have a future. It's not about it's not about the money. It's about an inheritance that they wanted to pass on to their children. And so that money, I believe that hospital that she's talking about is nothing but a Trojan horse. Nothing but,
Not
it's
much
nothing but a
security, yeah.
disguise
Yes.
to justify the holding of the money so that they can make money on interest earned in the millions. And it was designed, Congressman Michael Sinicolas said it was given to the island for the benefit of the people.
Exactly.
So it can be used and it should be used. Perhaps we should go ahead and begin to fix up the maternity ward at the existing hospital and do what we can structurally to fix that. And that's in the short term because you can't wait 5, 7, 10 years to build a new hospital while this thing is falling apart.
Right.
We need to find a way to do it. The money should be given to those that, the essential workers that you just mentioned that have been left out. The moderate to income families where you have working families that didn't qualify because they exceeded the threshold, didn't qualify for any of the assistance. Husband and wife both work in 2 jobs and can barely make it. Can't pay the bills. And so they're standing in the gap saying, we are the forgotten ones.
Right.
And that's what's happening to the Filipino community. Many of them, as you said, working couples, hardworking couples, but they didn't benefit. So we've got to get the money out into the programs. What are we doing about the police department? Short 200 workers. And what did she do? By executive order, gave a pay raise. But where's the long-term guarantee? Tony and I will want to come in and secure the funding. You know, so there's been a lot of politics played with money, and that's the problem. Where is the transparency? Where's the truth? It shows line by line where all the monies went, but it's going to require an audit. And when we get in, who's to tell what's left?
Right.
And so it is going to be an amazing challenge, but we want to do what's fair. We want to do what's right. We want to do what's just.
That's good, Governor, that you say that, okay? This is why this interview is happening, because I want the Filipino community
Yeah.
out there to know what's happening.
Thank you.
Right.
So I'm so glad that you answered the few questions that I have. Last words from both of you. Please address the Filipino community of Guam.
Well, again, first, thank you, Sally, for reaching out to us
Welcome,
and
sir.
asking us to conduct this interview. And to the Filipino community of Guam, all Filipinos, all our people actually,
Yes.
you know, this is the time to make your voice heard. This is the time to come out and say something. You know, that saying, you see something, well, you see something going wrong in our government, on our island. Say something. Be the voice to the people. Come out, exercise your right to vote, because first of all, it is your right. And second, you can make a difference. Let's make a difference not just for our people on our island, but let's make a difference for everyone who calls Guam home or who comes to visit Guam, because they might one day want to be make Guam their home as well. So I ask all of you to please come out, vote this general election, vote Camacho Ada for governor and lieutenant governor. That's where the change will make, and that's the only time we can make the changes, is if Felix and I become the next governor, lieutenant governor of Guam. Thank you,
Thank you,
Sally.
Senator. Governor?
I want to say to the Filipino community, you have always been the change agents. You have brought about energy, creativity, labor, intelligence, professionalism in all careers and all walks of life. I've known this from the time I was young. And you are the agents of change. The only way you can bring about change is that you have to take an active role. You've got to take a stand. You've got to care enough to get out there and exercise the right to vote. Because if you don't do that and you say, I'm going to sit this one out, I'm going to stand on the sidelines and just watch, and I will accept what people, the other people who vote, decide, I accept it, then who are we to complain, right? If you didn't take an active role. So take an active role, be the change agent, make your vote count, make that difference, and I will bring back a restoration to this island. We will bring back hope. We will bring back creativity. Doors of opportunity will open, and maybe we can even get family members to come back to our island. But we're going to work very well, of course, even with the Philippine government. The laborers that are coming here, H2B, is so critical to the development of our island and the skills and training and everything that is there. So look, Guam has been a melting pot from people from different lands that have come here and home. This is your home. Care enough about it, make a difference, vote. Camacho. It's a new season. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor.
God
Thank
bless
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Good luck and God bless. Thank you for coming to my show. Kababayan, kasali kayo live Saturday at 7 a.m. Pag-uusapan pa natin yung mga ibang pinaliwanag ni Governor Felix Camacho at saka ni Senator Ada. Maraming salamat, diba? Mabuhay kayo.
Mabuhay.
Sige lang, tutok po lang tayo dito sa Kabayan Sali kayo. Maraming salamat po. Si Diyos Maasi. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you.
Ayan po yung interview sa kandidato na tumatakbo against itong nakaupong si Governor Leong Guerrero at saka Vice Gobernador Tenorio. Nakakasawa na po. At kailangang ipakita ko rin yung side itong kandidato ito. Si Felix Camacho at saka si Tony Ada. Ngayon mga kababayan, sa November 8 general election na yon. Alam nyo ang nangyayari sa ating gobernador. Tahimik lang tayo kasing mga Pilipino eh. Hindi tayo magulo. Kahit na maraming marites at saka marisol dyan, tahimik lang tayo. Siguro mga kababayan, oras na para mamili kayo at wag nang piliin at makaupo itong current administration para naman gumaan-gaan konti ng buhay. Dahil, let me warn you, in the next year or two, ang inflation ay talaga maaapektuhan ng Guam. Kaya, wag bumoto kayo, mag-register kayo, bumoto kayo. Yan lang ang paraan para may pagbabago. Wala na akong masasabi para ma-emphasize yan. At saka, isipin po ninyo na pag hindi kayo bumoto, wala kayong karapatang magreklamo. Okay? Be a part of the community. Make a change. At may choice kayo between this candidate and this candidate. Gamitin nyo po ang inyong utak, gamitin nyo ang inyong emosyon dahil sa mga nangyayari at iboto kung sino ang makakagawa ng mas mabuti, na mas yung bang transparent, mas makakatulong sa ating mga kababayan at sa ating mga kapatid, our brothers and sisters here on Guam of other ethnic groups. Wala na po tayong oras mga kababayan. At pasensya na po kung biglang nagkaroon ako ng emosyon dahil talagang tinututukan ko ang mga nangyayari dito sa ating komunidad, no? Make a change po. Yan lang ang pakiusap ko. Sa general election itong November 8, maraming mangyayari kung maraming hindi magandang mangyayari kung hindi nyo pipiliin yung nakikita nyo naman lahat yung mga advertisement niyan, kung ano mga plataforma nila. Gamitin po natin ang ating utak at ating puso. At saka isalang-alang na lang po natin para sa ating mga anak, sa anak ng ating mga anak, sa ating mga apo. Yan lang po. Sa susunod, habang wala pa itong general election, marami pa ho tayong pwedeng pag-usapan. Okay po. Maraming salamat uli sa pagtutok dito sa Kababayan Kasali Kayo. At wala na ho tayong oras. Mag-ingat po kayo. And God bless.